my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be reading manga chapters from 3 random manga series because I do want something new, but I also don't want to make that decision, so why not let fate decide. I'm thinking at least 10 chapters for the things that have chapters, and for the things that have less than 10 chapters, I'm just gonna read it. And that goes for series that I've already started too, if we happen to land on one of those, and if we land on something that I've already read, I'm just gonna keep scrolling. And speaking of scrolling, I am just going to open the Viz Media app. I am not going to look while I do this, but I am going to scroll. I did do a test of this last night, and I landed on Gyo by Junji Ito, and I'm kind of sad I'm probably not getting that today. But I did get Shiver, which I've already read. Okay, so still scrolling. My finger is more on Saturn Apartments, a touching, character-rich version of an intriguing new world. Okay, well the art on the thumbnail looked cute, so hopefully it is. Wait, 2 more. Okay, Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. That is the Inuyasha spinoff, which I have not finished watching the Inuyasha anime. So yeah, this should be interesting. It has 38 chapters, and hopefully I don't need to have finished that to understand this. And let's go ahead and do one more. A best collection of creepy tales from Eisner Award winner and legendary horror master Junji Ito. I'm actually very excited that I got this. I was hoping for Gyo, but I'll take it. Okay, so those are going to be our 3 series. I am going to go read those. There will be a cut, and when I come back, I will have reviews and thoughts and things. Okay, hello. About 2 or maybe 3 weeks has passed since I filmed the beginning of this video, which is longer than I thought it would be, but some of these, and I mean specifically Yashahime, were longer than I thought they would be. But we're here. We're done, and let's go ahead and start talking about these. Starting with the first 10 chapters of Saturn Apartments, which is the equivalent of Volume 1 and a little bit of Volume 2. And Saturn Apartments takes place in a future where humans are now living in a giant structure that forms a ring around the Earth 35 kilometers in the sky. The higher the floor, the greater the status, and our main character Misu is the son of a window washer who has disappeared and is assumed to be dead. After graduating from junior high, Mitsu takes on the same occupation that his father once had and gets an outsider's look into the lives of the people living inside of the Saturn Apartments as he struggles to adjust to working life. So going into Saturn Apartments, I was about as unfamiliar with this series as one can be, and I ended up liking it, but also not that much. Like, there's nothing really wrong here necessarily. It's extremely slice of life, and it also does fall into a little bit of a formula when it comes to the clients of the windows they're washing, and each client gets like 1, maybe 2 chapters. And they're sweet little stories, and some of them do connect to our main cast and help us get to know them a little bit better. And there's also just like this underlying sadness to the series as well that makes me really curious about where this goes, because I feel like they have the opportunity to dive into and explore some really interesting commentary, especially combined with the setting. Like, it's one that I could see people reading and finishing and really loving the ending, and I could see it even having like some really meaningful impact on people at some point. Whether or not they actually do that, I have no idea, because again, after like the first few chapters, it is pretty much just formula, which I didn't necessarily mind. The characters have interesting dynamics with one another, our main character is likable, and there is heart here for sure. And I also think the setting itself and just the concept is really interesting, and I would like to see them do more with it because, like I said, I think there is a lot of potential here. The art style is also nice and clean. I also found it to be really refreshing because it is more unique than others. So overall, I would say that I like this so far, but they haven't really done anything to really hook me in, and I don't necessarily feel like excited to go back to it. So I honestly don't think that I will, but I also don't think I would be unhappy if I ended up reading more of this one day. Next up, we have Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, and this is in fact the sequel series to Inuyasha. And it follows Sesshomaru's daughter Towa, who is living in modern times, which isn't easy for her as she has no memory of where she came from and has to conceal her mysterious powers, and just has trouble making friends in general. But when a demon attack transports her back to the feudal era, she, her sister Setsuna, and her cousin Moroha have a mission given to them by the Tree of Ages to fulfill their destiny by finding their parents who have gone missing thing, and also healing a rift in time. I actually ended up reading the first 11 chapters of this, which is the first 3 volumes, and going into this I was a little bit concerned about the amount of Inuyasha that I have watched and experienced prior to reading this, which for context is 27 episodes, and for even more context, it's only really what I remember from those 27 episodes, because it has been a while, but I do think that I did okay here for sure. I mean, I definitely don't have like that deep nostalgia or love for this series quite yet, so whenever Yashahime really tried to capitalize on those feelings, it just didn't fully land for me, but I could see it working on other people. And I'm also not sure that I've met all of the characters that they've kind of introduced as being like characters from the original series, or you know, remember them if I did, because there was a part of this where they threw a lot at me at once, and I'm not sure that I fully got it, but my brain did try really hard. And you get to see who those characters end up with, and we get to see a lot of the children in here, which on one hand is really cool, but on the other, when I read them say she grew into a beautiful woman, or whatever it was that they said in reference to Rin, the red flags went up for me for sure. So I googled it because I did not know her, and yeah, it was as bad as I thought that it was going to be when it comes to the romance and the relationship there, and just like the age gap and power dynamics. So yeah, that is a very unfortunate thing about this, but we also do have our 3 main characters of this series to focus on, because this is their journey, and I really liked all 3 of them. And I thought that they were interesting characters by themselves, but they also made for a really fun team, and they also just have fun personalities, and I do really think that they are what really carried me through these first 3 volumes. But I also do really like the series from a fantasy standpoint, and I like the world itself. I felt the same way about Inuyasha, and that feeling is still there. I also really liked the art style. As for the story itself though, there are times where I didn't love it, and I'm actually not sure there ever was a time where I did love it, but I did enjoy most of it. I do think that I just need to see it come together a little bit more, and I do really enjoy like the adventurous nature of it, because I like to adventure with fun characters, and that's what we have here. And I also do think that they are doing some interesting things with the villains and Sesshomaru potentially. And I can also appreciate how this series has roped in and incorporated the characters from the original series, even if I don't always understand the gravity of it. It very much does feel like a sequel to Inuyasha, and I like Inuyasha, and I like this. And I could easily see myself returning to this series one day, whether that's the manga or the anime. Just not sure when just yet, because like I said, I have a lot of Inuyasha to watch still. And finally, we have the entirety of Venus in the Blind Spot by Junji Ito. And this is a best of collection of 10 of Junji Ito's shorter works, including some adaptations and color pages. And I did really like those color pages, and of course the art was incredible all around, as is the normal for Junji Ito, so that was not surprising. And I do think that this was a pretty solid collection overall. There is some really creepy, really disturbing content in here. Again, as is the normal for Junji Ito, and it has been a while since I've read a collection from this author. And while the collection format of it definitely did make the chapters go by quickly because every story was new and different, I did find myself kind of wishing that there was more of a connection or larger story going on between them, but that's not this collection's fault. That being said, a lot of these stories did end in a way where they did kind of feel open-ended, and it did feel like there should have been more. So unfortunately, a lot of these ended up leaving me wanting more, but I only wanted more because what I was reading was good. And the only times throughout this collection where my attention kind of dipped was during Venus in the Blind Spot and Master Umezumi, and to a lesser extent How Love Came to Professor Kirida and Keepsake, with my favorites being Billions Alone, Human Chair, Licking Woman, and Enigma of Amigara Fault. Sad Tale the Principal Post only had 4 pages to it, but I do think that it made the most out of those 4 pages. And Unearthly Love, I kind of just have no idea what to do with it. It definitely was creepy and uncomfortable though. As were all of these. Like I said earlier, the quality of the horror in here was super high. I definitely left this collection feeling disturbed, which is what I look for from Junji Ito, and this probably is my favorite collection that I've read so far from this author. But I also still didn't like it as much as I liked Uzumaki, which I really loved, so I ended up giving the Venus in the Blind Spot collection 4 out of 5 stars. And also, quick note, I don't give final ratings to manga series until they're done, and I'm I'm finished with them. So Venus in the Blind Spot is the only thing that's going to get like an official final rating from me today. But for right now, Saturn Apartments is like at a 3 out of 5 stars, and Yashahime I think is like at a 3.75 out of 5 stars. But my ratings for those two series could change in the future if/when I ever return to them. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answering a question that'll be around here if you want to do that. And hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye.